You shall worship the Lord your God and serve him only?
Yes.
The key defining aspect of worship was sacrifice. You cannot sacrifice to anyone but God. This Son of Man of Daniel is being worshipped as God is because he's a heavenly figure and he's being served by all nations and all languages forever. So this service is what you give to gods. But then the Son of Man will be given Pelach, by all nations and all languages forever. It's not most high, it's highest ones, it's plural. So there's more than one who's the most high. Why? Because in the chapter, how many did Daniel see?
2.
That means he saw 2. One in heaven, the other going to heaven, arriving in heaven. So Ancient of Days and Son of Man, right? That means they're not the same person, are they? So they're not 2 manifestations of one person, right? They're 2 distinct persons?
Definitely, yeah.
What happened to you, Mario? Where you been?
I actually had a question which kind of was thinking about it today, which I think also relates to this topic, which relates to Matthew 4:10, when Jesus says,
you shall worship the Lord your God and serve him only?
Yes. So I think once you discuss that the key term there is serve, which is translated as latreus, latria.
Latrevo, yeah, latrevo. Serve him only, latrevo.
Right, which basically in biblical context means basically temple worship or sacrifice.
Priestly service, yeah.
Priestly service. But then I was checking, there is this interesting distinction because in the Hebrew, it's not
that, or it's yishtichava shacha.
Exactly, I could never pronounce this well, but basically it's more general. It's not necessarily priestly service. But then when the Septuagint translators kind of translated into Greek, they use the latreos,
latrevi,
which is more.
Yes, exactly.
And so it seems that Matthew is kind of continuing this Septuagint tradition of using this priestly terminology. However, this is kind of the interpretation of the Septuagint translator. So how can we prove that serve specifically relates to priestly service?
Why would you need to?
Because if it's a general servitude,
but whatever this worship is, it's a worship you can only give to God. If it's a general worship, then the Bible contradicts itself. It says serve him only. So what kind of worship is to be given to God alone?
Well, that's the point, because if it's priestly, I think if it's priestly service, then I like it more, personally.
Not you like it more. Well, what I'm trying to tell you, Mario, the Hebrew doesn't use a word that's restricted to the worship of God alone. Avad, service, that's used for also worshiping, serving kings, right, with God's approval. Yishtichava, shacha, it's also the reverence you give to people in position of authority. Why did they then translate in Greek as la trevo? Because they understood, that's what I'm saying, think. What kind of worship can only be given to God?
Yeah, exactly. That's their interpretation, which I think is correct.
That's right.
Obviously.
Because if it's just speaking of worship in general, then you have God contradicting himself. That's the point. What is the worship that God is saying his people can only give to him? Well, if it's a general worship, you can't bow down to anyone. God is contradicting himself because he's allowing Israel to bow down to him and worship, and David in the same context, in the same setting, where they bow down to the ground before both of them. It's not going to work. So reasoning it, what is the worship that only God can receive? Because there is a worship that can be given to others with God's approval, but there's a type of worship that can only be given to God. So then they reason through that, it must be priestly worship, the type of worship given by the priest, which entails sacrifices. So the key defining aspect of worship was sacrifice. You cannot sacrifice to anyone but God.
Right, yeah, and I think that's a very good explanation. However, someone might come back and say, it's the context that basically determines what type of worship it is. And so as you apply...
That's what you just said to me. That's what I just said. Yeah. The context will determine what kind of worship is to be given to God alone. So what is the one worship that can only give to God, you can't give to a creature?
Yeah, temple sacrifice.
So then what's the problem, I would say to them?
Yeah, no, because the problem I was thinking about is like, okay, if prosteneo can be more general, and then this serve terminology in Hebrew is more general, but then it's an interpretation that is obviously, I think, correct. That it's temple service. Then when we apply Pelach or latreo to Jesus, and we prove that Jesus receives latreo, then one can push back and say,
You
but
give
that's
Pelach to any other heavenly being besides God?
I don't think so.
Well, you got to
Obviously.
know for certain. Can you give Pelach to any other heavenly being besides God?
Well, no, I don't think so.
So in Daniel, is the Son of Man a heavenly being who reigns in heaven?
Yes,
So how can he be given Pelach?
because obviously he's God. We know that.
No, well, I'm not. It's not so obvious. I'm just saying. I'm asking the anti-Trinitarian. If you're going to use examples where someone is being served on earth, okay, I'll grant you that. Can you show me an example in the Old Testament where God tolerates someone being worshipped, someone being given Pelach, the Aramaic verb, other than him who lives in heaven?
Yeah, obviously there is not.
Okay, so the Pelach that causes Christians to realize that this Son of Man of Daniel is being worshipped as God is because he's a heavenly figure. He reigns in heaven. He's enthroned with God, and he's being served by all nations and all languages forever. The last place that God will allow someone that's a creature to be served with the same kind of service he receives is in heaven, especially as he's enthroned alongside of him.
Yeah, and can
That's
we prove? And can we prove that the Pelach is basically the maximum worship to God?
In the book of Daniel, you can. When the king is asking them to give Pelach to anyone other than God, whether to the king or statue to other gods, what do? What do they say in Daniel 3:12 and 14, 17, 18, and 28? We will not worship or serve any other God. And then he says, servants of the Most High, who chose to have their bodies thrown into flames than to serve Pelach any other God but their own.
Okay, so that basically, that's basically the maximum you can have, right?
Well, I mean, it's the service that believers on earth give to a God in heaven. So since Israelites are told there's only one God in heaven that they are to serve, and they can't serve any other God, they won't even serve humans who thought they were gods on earth, then for the Son of Man to be enthroned with God in heaven and receive Pelach while he's in heaven with God, either God is changing his mind, or we got idolatry, or that Son of Man is not a creature. Here. You want to read 12 for me, mister? Out loud?
Yes. There are certain Jews whom we have appointed over the administration of the province of Babylon, namely Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, do not pay attention to you. They do not serve your gods.
So this service is what you give to gods. See
and
it?
do not, yes.
Now this word sagid is a different type word. So they won't worship your image because the image is supposedly symbolizing you, that you're a god, because they thought they're gods. But notice Pelach is used in reference to who?
To gods, right.
Gods.
Yeah.
So right there, now Daniel 3:14, Nebuchadnezzar asked them, what does he say?
Answered and said to them, is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you are not serving my
There's
gods?
that verb again.
Yep.
Notice he even differentiates Pelach as something given to gods, and the sagid, the worship given to an image.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
So Pelach is given to who?
To gods. Yeah.
Gods, right? So you see from Daniel, Pelach is that which you render to gods.
Okay, that's great, actually, yeah.
Now, what did they say to him, Daniel 3:17, 18?
If it be so, our God whom we serve is
Guess
able
what that
to
word
save.
is?
Yeah, Pelach.
Notice they don't use the word sagid, worship. They use the word Pelach. Guys, I want you to catch the distinction. When it talks about worshiping the image, they use a different word, sagid or sajid. But when it talks about worshiping gods, they use Pelach. See the difference? So the God whom we serve,
right.
Keep reading.
We serve is able to save us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he will save us out of your hand, O king. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we are not going to serve your
There's
gods.
That word again.
And we will not worship the golden image that you have set up.
Are you seeing how it's consistent? When it comes to the image, it uses the word sagid.
Wow, yeah.
When it comes to worshiping gods, it's the word Pelach. So how does the Son of Man receive Pelach? Then Daniel 3:28. What does it say?
Nebuchadnezzar answered and said, Praise be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and saved his servants who put their trust in him, violating the king's word, and gave up their bodies so as not to serve and not to worship any god except their own God.
So not only they won't serve any other god, they won't even worship any other god. They won't even do either. That's why the golden image represented Nebuchadnezzar, and he was trying to portray himself as a god, right? Because what did human kings think? They were gods on earth. So to worship the image, this was a foreshadowing of the Antichrist. What do I mean?
Yeah.
What does the Antichrist do? Not only will you worship him, but you must worship his image. So you see why in Revelation it's called Babylon, the great whore, because the king of Babylon, the Babylonians, Babylon, are all pictures of the Antichrist. Just like Nebuchadnezzar set up an image of gold and demanded people to worship that image, to acknowledge he's a god, because they all thought they're gods. Antichrist will have an image that will be animated, and you must worship Antichrist and the image. So when it says that you will not serve any other god, nor worship, meaning they won't worship even human kings who think they're gods. So the word serve all throughout is Pelach. So I'm going to get you the Hebrew. Now, be careful of this argument, because I hear it and it upsets me. You're going to hear it, my brother, and I don't want to offend you, but I just want to let you know. You're going to hear William Albrecht tell you the Greek says latreo in Daniel 7, right?
In Daniel 7, yeah, but there is a variant, right?
He will tell you the Greek says in Daniel 7:14 that the Son of Man receives latreo, right?
Yep.
Problem. There are two Greek versions of Daniel 7:14. Theodotion, one version says the Son of Man receives douleo. The other Greek version says latreo. So be careful of sloppy arguments that only give you part of the picture, not the complete picture. Because someone who doesn't care for the Trinity wants to embarrass you, will say, wait. Why didn't you mention the alternate rendering of the Greek? There's a Greek version that doesn't say the Son of Man receives latreo, but douleo. Okay? That's why instead of basing your argument on a Greek translation, go to the original language of Daniel. Now, Daniel 3:12, let's see what the verb is. Pelach, where is it used? Here, Daniel 3:12, same verb, Pelach. 3:14, same verb, Pelach. 3:17, same verb, Pelach. Daniel 3:18, same verb, Pelach. 3:28. But notice it's also in Daniel 6:16, and it's also in 20 and 22. Serve, Pelach, right? Because in 22 it says servants. That's what servants do, they serve, right? 6:26 I meant to say. Nonetheless, Daniel 6:26. Nonetheless, here it is, same verb. Daniel 7:14, Pelach, same verb.
Yeah.
So if Pelach is that given to gods, and Jews cannot give Pelach to any other god but their own, but then the Son of Man will be given Pelach, Pelechun, by all nations and all languages forever. And this is the same Pelach that all the kings, dominions will give to the Most High. How can the Son of Man be given Pelach while he's in heaven, enthroned with God, if he's a creature?
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I actually didn't realize how strong it was.
Oh yeah, let me show you that it's even the same form of the verb. Pelechun, same exact form was given, right? Nations should Pelechun, right?
Yeah.
The same form is used in Daniel 7:27. Watch. There it is. Pelechun. See?
Yeah, okay.
Same form.
Wow.
Now, in fact, it's even used in 28 that they will not serve, give Pelechun, or worship Sagi to any other god other than their own. But it's used in 7. It's the same chapter. It says that the dominions will give the Most High Pelechun, same form of the verb. So this is a powerful text. You don't need to go to the Greek, because someone who's sharp is going to say, oh, wait, there's a variant reading in the Greek. Pelechun.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
They're going to give Pelechun to the Most High. And it's plural, the highest ones. Elyonin is plural. It's not singular. It's not most high. It's highest ones. It's plural. The een is plural. Adjective, masculine, plural. So there's more than one who's the most high. Why? Because in the chapter, how many did Daniel see?
2.
That's why it's plural, guys. Here. All right. Why plural? Well, we know why. Because when we go back, we see how many are there? Let's see. So if you know how to unpack Daniel 7, you don't need to go to the Greek. Well, the Greek says, well, no. Okay, so he sees thrones, plural, right? Daniel 7, 9 to 10, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But he only sees one figure on one throne, the Ancient of Days. No, more than one throne, but he only sees one at this scene. Ancient of Days on his throne, singular, right?
Yeah.
Its wheels, singular. So he's sitting on one throne, and he appears visibly with a visible shape, a visible body, with a visible robe, visibly seated. Well, God is bodiless by nature, but he can appear. His clothing was like white snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. All right, so this Ancient of Days is a visible appearance. He's appearing as an older man with white hair, white robe, with a visible body, seated visibly, but only on one throne. But he saw more than one. Now the other figure. Daniel 7, 13, and 14. I kept looking night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven, one like a son of man, he came up to the Ancient of Days. So there's your second.
Yeah.
Who does he go to?
To the Ancient of Days.
So he's not the Ancient of Days, right?
Right. Yeah.
That means he saw two. One in heaven, the other going to heaven, arriving in heaven. So according to New Testament, who is the Son of Man?
Jesus Christ.
All right, but then who's the Ancient of Days?
Here it will be the Father.
So you mean Daniel saw the Father in heaven?
Yeah.
There you go. Here is a proof. Daniel saw the Father in heaven. Note, the Father's in heaven. So he's given what we call the beatific vision. He sees the Father visibly. But then he sees another figure joining him in heaven. So who sits on that other throne? He does. Why? Because when he came to him, he was given a dominion. Glory and a kingdom. That means he's a king. Kings sit on thrones. That's why he saw thrones. And then all nations in every language must do what? Serve.
Oh, yeah.
How long does he reign?
His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which will not be taken away.
Yep, and then?
And then his kingdom is one, which will not be destroyed.
Now, in the same chapter, verse 27, read for me what it says.
Then the reign, the dominion, and the greatness of all the kingdoms under the whole heaven will be given to the people of the saints of the highest one.
This is what the Bible teaches, right? We will reign with Christ forever.
Exactly, yeah.
God's kingdom will be our kingdom. We will rule with him as kings and queens on earth, even though we'll be subject to them and we'll still worship them. Now keep reading.
His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all the dominions will serve and obey him. Serve, yeah.
Wait, there's that verb again, serve.
Yeah.
So the highest one is served by all dominions. But earlier, it was the Son of Man who is served, same verb, by all nations and all languages forever. But then what's interesting is, I told you guys, if you're paying attention, the word highest one is plural, Elyonin. It's literally the highest ones, most highs. It's plural. What is the word for most high? Elyonin. The in makes it plural. Here you go. Adjective, masculine, plural. So if you guys are paying attention, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Why is it plural? Why does Daniel speak of most highs, highest ones, plural? Why is he using the plural?
Because there's more than one.
Who are the more than one?
In the context, the Ancient of Days and the Son of Man.
So Ancient of Days and Son of Man, right? That means they're not the same person, are they?
Yeah.
So they're not two manifestations of one person, right? They're two distinct persons.
Definitely, yeah.
That's why they are the highest ones. But now understand how this proves the Son of Man is equal to the Father. Why? He's just as high as the Father. Otherwise, you wouldn't call them both the highest ones.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's very tight.
How can he be the most high with the Father if they're not equal in glory, status, dominion, and honor? Note, they are together the highest ones, most highs. One is not higher than the other. They are equal. How can the Son of Man be equal to the Ancient of Days and just as high and sovereign and mighty as him if he's a creature?
Yeah, no, it's very, very tight once you understand it.
This is how you make your case for the worship Pelach. You don't need latreo. Latrevo. In fact, here I'm going to show you that the verb in the Greek is not latrevo, it's douleo, because there are two versions of the Greek. Be careful of sloppy argument that says, well, the Greek says latrevo. That's only one version. There's more than one Greek version extant. There's the one attributed to Theodotion, and it says doulevo, doulevo. Now let me show you that. You ready? Here, let me prove it to you. What is the verb here? Ke afto idothi he archi, he time ke he basilia, ke pantis I lai, meaning the people, fule, glosse, afto, du, levo, susin. It's not latrevo.
Yeah.
So tell William, retire that argument, brother. Retire the argument. If I was an anti-Trinitarian, I'll wreck you, William. Stop these bad arguments, brother. You love the Lord. Equip Catholics with the best arguments. Stop these weak arguments. See it right there?
Yep.
That's douleo, doulevo. It's not latrevo.
It takes slightly more time to unpack it in the Hebrew, but it's very tight once you do it.
No, actually, Hebrew, you can just show from Daniel, you cannot receive Pelach if you're not God.
Yeah.
Because then they're going to show you Jewish texts after the time of Christ or the Aramaic Targums using Pelach for human beings.
I see.
But that's a problem. That's later. That's after the time of Christ. And words change and evolve and adapt new meanings, right?
But also just in the context of Daniel, that's how he's using it, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Stick in the context of Daniel.
Yeah.
And you're going to prove that he must be worshipped as God, especially in heaven. Can Jews worship someone other than God in heaven? Someone in heaven that's not God? Can you then give him Pelach forever and ever?
I mean, unless you have a very strange theology, I don't think so.
No, if you're going to be consistent with the Old Testament and God doesn't contradict himself. So forget these weirdos. If you're consistent with the Old Testament, can a Jew on earth give the same Pelach forever to a being other than God that's in heaven? No, Exodus 34:14, he tells you he's a jealous God.
Oh, yeah.
So now, does this version have latrevo or doulevo?
Doulevo.
Okay, now watch verse 27. What does it use? Let's go. Ke basilia, ke exousia, ke megalusune, ton basileon, ton hupokato, apokate, hupokato pantos tu, orano, idothi, hagis, right here, hipstu or hipsistu, ke basileia, aftu, basileia, Aionios ke pase e arche afto doulevo susi. It's not latrevo.
Yeah.
It doesn't use latrevo.
And do we know if this version of the Greek is more recent or?
Well, the extant copies of the Septuagint are after the time of Christ.
The extant copies, yeah. Okay, yeah.
The copies we have of the Septuagint are, meaning there are fragments of the Old Testament in Greek, but they're very fragments from the first century. Fragments. So when you look at the Septuagint, the translation 70, the copies that are more complete or fuller are after the time of Christ, and the major unseals, meaning the major codices that have virtually, not all, but virtually the entire Bible, are from the 4th and 5th centuries. Codex Sinaiticus, now some say it's a forgery. Codex Vaticanus, Ephraemi, Codex Alexandrinus, these are 350, AD, 4th century, 5th century. So it's hard to prove before and during the time of Christ, it was the word latrevo. We do have a witness from Justin Martyr when he's debating Trifle and he quotes Daniel 7. In his Greek, in Daniel 7:14, he has the verb latrevo.
Okay.
Justin Martyr, and I have him quoted in my article, when he's quoting Daniel 7 to prove Jesus is the Son of Man that Daniel foresaw, when he quotes the word for serve, in his Greek, it's latrevo, right? So he would serve as a 2nd century witness. He's writing around 150 AD, that his Greek copy had the word latrevo. But Theodosian is also 2nd century witness, meaning he's one of those non-Christians who produced his own Greek version of the Old Testament for Jews. And he has doulevo.
Could it be that maybe that the reason why it translated this way is because the Christians were using it?
That's what I'm
maybe?
saying, yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that they can tell you, yeah, see, the copies you have are Greek copies produced by Christians, so they would add the word latrevo, right? Yeah, they can say that to you, right?
Or we can say the other way around. The reason why it's translating with duleo is because it doesn't want to concede the point.
Well, that's the thing. It's inconclusive. You can't prove or disprove, correct?
Exactly, yeah.
So then we're stuck, aren't we?
That's why it's better to go to the Hebrew, I guess.
That's right. And that's my point.
Yeah.
So why go to the Greek and go to Aramaic? Because that part of Daniel is Aramaic.
Awesome.
From Daniel chapter 2, verse 4 to Daniel 7,
Aramaic, yeah.
it's all Aramaic. You want me there?
Yep.
So tekerissima. Now right here is Blue Letter Bible. Let's see how they translate the Greek of Daniel 7:14. See, even here, look at the Septuagint they're using. What does it say? Doulevosusin.
Strong's G 1398. Deluo.
Or doulevo. He's pronouncing it like Erasmian. So even note the Septuagint used here, guys, doesn't use latrevo. Now let's see if Bible Hub uses latrevo. So when you hear William use this argument, say, brother, update your argument. You're going to embarrass us. There are 2 forms of the Greek. Now let me shock you a little more. There is another version of the Greek called the Old Greek. All right. You know how Daniel 7:13 reads in the Old Greek? You know how it reads, and the Son of Man came to the Ancient of Days? The Old Greek, you know what it says?
No idea.
It doesn't say the Son of Man came to the Ancient of Days. It says the Son of Man came as the Ancient of Days.
Oh, wow.
Do you know that?
Oh, wow.
The Old Greek, it uses the word hos, meaning he is the Ancient of Days. Now here's another version of the Septuagint. Now here it uses latrevo. Look, latrevo susa. And here it is, by the way. He came as the Ancient of Days. Hos, there it is. Here, epiton nephilon to orano. I saw one as hos, veus anthropou, meaning as Son of Man, erchito, coming, as the Ancient of Days.
Yeah.
Hos, there it is. It doesn't say he came to, it says he came as. It's right there. Os paleos, hemeron means days. Parin, here, to show you this phrase, paleos, hemeron, parin. Let's see what it is in verse 9. Paleos, hemiron, you see it?
Yeah.
That's this 9. One like the Ancient of Days, right? See that right here? Paleos, hemeron. Now note here, paleos, hemeron, same word, right?
Yeah.
But it says he came as hos, not to. The word hos means as, right there.
Interesting. And do you think they had some other Aramaic copies, or
that's a good question.
Yeah.
Did they have Aramaic that told them the Son of Man is Ancient Days, or did they understand that there was more than one Ancient of Days? The one that's on the throne, and this one who's also an Ancient of Days. You understand?
I mean, both
This
cases.
means he's coming as the Ancient of Days. He's not the same one that's already seated. This one is already in heaven. You understand? You want me to break it down, the implication? This one, Paleos Hemeron, he's already in heaven. This one that's coming is not in heaven, meaning he too is an Ancient of Days who's coming to heaven to join the other Ancient of Days. It means there are 2, not 1.
I mean, that's phenomenal, right?
Now, I didn't know that, Bible Hub, I didn't know they had the Old Greek. This is the Old Greek. See, it has hos as the Ancient of Days. Right there, hos. Because here it says, just in case if you, epi means upon, ton nephilon, right? Clouds, upon the clouds, tu orano of heaven, hos, weos anthropo. Weos means son of man, anthropo. So here, he's coming as, you see? Hos means as. It's not coming to. Then it says, hos paleos hemeron. And he comes as the Ancient of Days.
I mean, that's crazy. Do you know if this copy was produced by Christians or?
Well, the Old Greek would be after Christ. So again, we'd have to argue, that it's, but again, and nonetheless, even if you say it's a Christian witness, scholars would take it as a Jewish witness. Nonetheless, that again proves the point. The Christians thought Jesus, Son of Man, is equal to the Father. Because like the Father is Ancient of Days. And by the way, John already told you that. Didn't John?
In Revelation,
Ancient of Days?
Yeah.
Didn't John already tell you that?
Yeah.
I'll prove it to you. Now, you guys saw the Greek here, right? Ancient of Days is already in heaven, but the Son of Man comes as the Ancient of Days, so he's the second one. More proof to destroy Greg Stafford. Even though Greg Stafford acknowledges the Old Greek says the Son of Man comes as the Ancient of Days, and he says because he's the perfect image. What more evidence you need, Greggy, before you bite your lip? All right, now let me check Aleppo. How does it read there?
Yeah, I was thinking, even if it's a Greek witness, a Jew witness, I mean, that's even stronger, I think.
Yeah, but even if it's not, it's still showing you within less than 100 years of Christ's death, and his resurrection, because he's alive. Even first century witness, if it's second century, the Christians are already worshiping Jesus as equal to the Father, because like the Father, they view him as the Ancient of Days.
Yeah, I mean, that's right? Crazy. Yeah.
Now notice here, this Greek, it's heos. Heos means not as. Heos means to or with. You see the preposition different? Notice here, hos. But over here, it's heos. The Old Greek has hos. Later Greek has hos and heos or heos.
Strong's G 2193. Heos.
Now, you guys see there are two forms of the Greek. One Greek form tells you the Son of Man came heos, to the Ancient of Days. He's not coming as the Ancient of Days, but he is coming as a Son of Man, hos. And this one also says that he receives not latrevo, but doulevo. You see?
Yeah.
The other one has him coming as the Ancient of Days, and that one has him receiving latrevo.
Yeah, crazy.
Two different forms of the Greek. And in these two Greek forms, one has Jesus, the Son of Man, coming as the Ancient of Days. So there are two, Ancient of Days in heaven, and the one coming as an Ancient of Days, because they're equal. And the one that has him coming as the Ancient of Days says he receives latrevo, worship given to God. The other Greek form has him coming to the Ancient of Days, heos. And he receives doulevo. This is why, be careful of sloppy arguments. This guy will keep telling the Greek says latrevo. No, only one form of the Greek says it, man. Update your arguments, dude.
So I was thinking, because the two words are very similar, with and as, but even if it's a textual variant, because, it can be a scribe mistake, it's interesting to me that, they kind of maintained it probably over time, right?
Yeah, well, brother, either variant, you still have the Son of Man being God. Meaning, if he comes to Ancient of Days, because he's not that same Ancient of Days that's already in heaven, so they're distinct. That's so we accept that. See, a Trinitarian can accept all the readings. He comes to the Ancient of Days because they're distinct, but he also comes as the Ancient of Days. Why? Because understand what we're saying. If you go with the reading that he comes as the Ancient of Days, then that means there's already one there who's the Ancient of Days. But there's another one who's equal to him in age. He comes to join him.
Yeah.
That's two divine persons who are equal.
I mean, that's great. Yeah, that's the standard.
Either way, even if I don't go with the word that says hos, he comes as Ancient of Days, but comes to him, the context is clear. he's still equal to him in glory and divinity. So either reading destroys anti-Trinitarianism. But the reading that says he comes as Ancient of Days, Greg Stafford did a session, Lord Jesus Christ reigns, if you know it. He goes, yeah, the old Greek says it because he's the perfect image, the exact representation of God's being. That's why he looks like him. And what's left? If he is the Ancient of Days, because he's the exact representation being, how is he a creature, Greggy? Now let me see the Greek here.
And so you said, before I forget, the two words in Aramaic, with and as, are they similar as well, or?
Now, before you ask me, now guys, you see this form goes with the same Septuagint used in Blue Letter Bible. Heos, he comes to the Ancient of Days, and he receives doulevo, not latrevo. The one on Bible Hub uses the Old Greek. He comes as the Ancient of Days and receives latrevo. Now, what were you saying about the Aramaic?
Now, I was saying, are the two words, because in Greek they are very similar, are they also similar in Aramaic?
Two words, what again, brother? Because,
the two words, with and as, in Greek are very similar.
Yeah, well, that's the Greek distinction. But if you look at, I'll show you now the Aramaic here. All right. Yeah, that's the Greek. But either way, brother, any reading you got, you get the Trinity. If he comes as the Ancient Days, why? Think about it. He can't be the one who's already in heaven. So how's he coming to heaven as the Ancient of Days?
I mean, it's it's very clear.
That means what? That someone else is coming who's also old, just as old, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So how many Ancient of Days is there?
In this context too.
But if he comes to the Ancient of Days, he's still equal to him because he's just as high as him and receives the same worship. We win. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Right?
Awesome.
See? Wa'ad, ad, to. Ad, he's coming to, not coming as. Up to, until, he's coming to him. So Daniel 7 is one of the most powerful chapters along with Zechariah. Using Daniel chapter 7, the book of Daniel, and Zechariah chapters 2, chapters 12, 14, obliterates anti-Trinitarians and proves from the Old Testament the Trinity. Because I'm going to show you something else. We talked about Son of Man, Ancient of Days, right? But where is person number 3? Well, here he is, man. Now, be careful of translations that will render the Aramaic plural, Allahin, as gods. It should be intensive plural, as God. So here, and by the way, the Greek and Latin prove that Allahin should be God, singular, because they render it singular. You want to see the Holy Spirit, the Trinity in Daniel? You ready?
Yep.
Here you go. The Trinity in Daniel. Daniel 5:11. Read out loud for me so I can hear you.
There is a man in your kingdom in whom is the Spirit of the Holy God. And in the days of your father...
Wait, who's possessing him?
The Spirit of the Holy God.
And who then enables him and inspires him wisdom to embarrass the diviners and soothsayers of the gods?
The Spirit of the Holy God? Yeah.
There's your third person. Keep reading it.
And in the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, were found in him. And King Nebuchadnezzar, your father the king, made him chief of the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and soothsayers.
Sorry. Now, watch what Belshazzar will say to him. Daniel 5:14.
I've heard of you that the Spirit of God is in you, and that light and understanding and excellent wisdom are found in you.
Wait, so who is in him, empowering with wisdom, knowledge, that is like the gods? Man, your wisdom's like the gods, man. It's out of this world, and it's putting us to shame. Who's doing that for him?
The Spirit of God, yeah.
Oh, wow. So there's third person. But now let me show you that the Son of God is the angel of God. You ready?
Yep.
Be careful of translations that will butcher Daniel 3:25. One like the son of Allahin, the plural doesn't mean it should be son of the gods. It's an intensive plural. Whereas Elyonin should be numerically plural. Daniel 3:24-25.
The king Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and he rose in haste and spoke, saying to his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the king, True, O king. Look, he answered, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. and the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. Yeah, I mean,
Where is Jesus?
yeah.
The one who appears as a man to protect them from being consumed by the fire.
You know, Sam, as well, I was thinking about this passage today.
Okay, because I want you to see who the Son of God is.
Nebuchadnezzar spoke, saying, "Blessed be the son of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and they have frustrated the king's word."
Wait, the Son of God is who?
The angel.
So the angel of God is the Son of
Angel,
God.
yeah.
What more proof do you want? This is Jesus.
I mean, it's
He
very
sent
tight.
the Son of God as a man to save them from the fire. But that Son of God is the angel of God. Okay, now I'm going to show you it's the same angel that God keeps sending. It's one and the same angel. Watch here. So again, who was the fourth man?
The Son of God,
And who is the Son of God?
the angel.
Now, who did God send to save Daniel from the lions then? Daniel 6:22.
My God sent his angel.
That
and
angel
shut the
again,
lion-
huh?
Yeah. And
My
shut the
God
lion's
sent
mouth.
who?
His angel.
Read it. Okay, finish the verse because I'm going to show you who the angel is.
And shut the lion's mouth, so that they have not hurt me, because I was found innocent before him. And also, King, I've done no wrong. I've done no wrong before you.
Okay, so the angel is the Son of God, and he's this angel that God keeps sending, right?
Yep.
Now let me show you who that is in Isaiah. It's one and the same angel, guys. Isaiah 63:9. Read that for me.
In all their affliction, he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and in his piety, he redeemed them, and he bore them and carried them all the days of old.
So the angel of his face. So who does God send to save his people?
The angel of his presence.
That in Orthodox Jewish prayer, Jesus is called the angel of his face. In the Orthodox Jewish prayer, they pray to Yeshua, Sar HaPanim.
Oh,
Jesus, the prince of his face. So, brother, there you got the Trinity in Daniel and Zechariah, and then you're seeing it's the same angel that he keeps sending over and over again. That's the angel that became Jesus. Here is an Orthodox Jewish prayer during Rosh Hashanah, and they pray to Yeshua Sar HaPanim. Jesus, Sar, ruler of the face. Panim, this is Isaiah 63:9. They're referring to Isaiah 69. An Orthodox Jewish prayer that identifies the angel of his face as Jesus.
I mean, it's incredible.
Now, brother,
Yeah.
do you have any other questions or no?